Thank you, New Game Frog, for your performance.
Everyone,
And thank you all for tuning in. Yeah, we're gonna clap New Game Frog out as we're gonna turn on the lights right after he leaves. Do y'all know what he was singing?
I'm sure some of you have guessed. Well, hello. I'm sure we're a little blurry for the moment.
Yeah, we're back.
Oh yeah, probably need to turn the monitor on too.
Ah, yes.
That probably helps. Also, you can angle that however you need to.
Okay.
Sorry, we sort of just did that whole thing.
I'm not sorry.
Are we all in frame? Is everything
Yeah,
good?
we're all good. We're all good.
I've been framed.
Okay, so yeah, I am super excited. This is
Yeah.
the game that I've been working on for a very long time now, and it's cool to finally be able to talk to you guys about it. If you don't know that wonderful rendition of that awesome Falcom song, the title of that Falcom song was Floating Continent Arges main theme. It is the main theme of Zwei, which is our big announcement. We actually have been working on Zwei 1 and Zwei 2 pretty much at the same time, but with Zwei 1, it's a much older game. It has a lot more technical hurdles to get over. And Zwei 2 was just ready a lot sooner. And so we released Zwei 2 first. Additionally, Zwei 2, we worked with a fan translator. The fan translator was not actually done with a script yet at the time of Zwei 1. And the technical issues, like the script that our programmer ripped from the game, was a totally different format than the one that the fan translator was working with. So we retranslated from scratch, and I was kind of tasked with that.
Yeah.
So I had a really, really good time with this game. This is probably my favorite game that I have ever worked on, just in terms of translation, just because it's just a sea of puns and snark, and it was just amazingly fun. So.
Yeah. So yeah, in case you missed it, and the beautiful music. So these are Tom and Nick, and yeah, we're gonna be streaming Zwei, the Arges Adventure, which is the title we came up
Yes.
with which is Zwei 1 originally.
Yes, that is the 2001 game.
Yes. Like, the Zwei games both have been in the cooker for probably a lot longer than anyone really realizes.
Yeah.
And, like, at the start of this year, in January, I remember installing Tom's copy of Zwei 1 on my PC to see if I could actually play it. And there were hurdles.
Yeah.
Like, codecs from, like, straight out of Windows 98.
Oh yeah, it's DirectX 5,
Yeah.
and the Indio R video codec. Yeah.
FPS settings of 30 or 15.
Yup. And yeah, our programmer that we're working with, actually, we're not working, like, it's not Durante, it's not Sarah. We actually are working with Matt Fielding of Magnetic Realms, the guy who did Exile's End.
Oh yeah, and he's bro.
And yeah, he is amazing. He did a fantastic job with this game. He has managed to make it run natively in widescreen. He's basically made it so that it no longer sucks to play on a controller, because previously this was not optimized for a controller.
Yeah. During my playthrough of the Japanese version, I was using controller, mouse, and keyboard, and that's not a way people should play the game.
Yeah, it was very hard to play.
It's like, hit the F buttons to use your items, mouse to choose the menu options, controller to fight. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every input device you have. I'm surprised you didn't use a microphone.
Yeah. That actually would have been pretty awesome. Do like the Famicom Zelda style where you have to shout to kill certain enemies.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the original game had a bunch of separate desktop apps that are run from like the
People
launcher.
are asking about this actually.
Yeah. Those have all been integrated. Well, almost all. The calculator and calendar are RIP. I'm sorry. No calculator and calendar for you guys. Sorry about that. But the clock, we saved the clock. You get an alarm clock in game, and also all the mini games are now integrated into the game. Most impressively, the pet monitor is actually integrated into the game itself, so that it like shows up on the HUD when you leave your pet at home. And so like your pet will go on adventures, and you can like choose options for it using the controller, using L2 and R2. So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, having played the original, the amount of improvement that I've seen from Matt's revisions to the game has been immense. It's like it has all the quality of life improvements I wished I had.
Yeah, it definitely makes playing through the game a whole lot easier than before.
Now that I'm test playing it on the Steam version.
Yeah, and it is still an early alpha, so do be aware there is still going to be, like, some text is not centered. There's going to be some text still in Japanese here and there. The title screen still just says Zwei. It doesn't say Zwei, the Arges Adventure. The options screen is, like, all placeholder right now, for the most part. Although we did include the PSP Arranged soundtrack as well.
Yeah, that's quite brilliant.
As a selectable edition. So
the soundtrack to this game is so good. It reminds me of the soundtrack to Chrono Cross, and that's not like an accolade that I give out lightly.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Falcom
Super
soundtracks
good.
of all time.
Yeah.
And both versions, the 2001 original and the PSP arrangement, are excellent, and both are included, so you can switch between them at will.
So people in the chat are asking if they should wait to play Zwei 1 before Zwei 2, since they've started Zwei 2 already.
I don't think so. I mean,
there are things that you will know going into Zwei 2 if you play Zwei 1 first, like about Pockle and Pipiro's backstory. But on the other hand, Zwei 2 was made like 8 years later, and I don't think it assumes familiarity with the first game.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. They're both pretty standalone stories, and Zwei 1, really, the story is extremely basic. The real reason to play it is the characters and the dialogue. And that is also why I had such a blast translating it, because this game is one of the funniest JRPGs I've ever played. It's like, so good.
Yeah, Zwei is more of like a dungeon crawler with a very quirky hub town that with people who have a lot of things to say, and they're really weird people.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. But I guess, do we want to fire it up and show it off?
Let's fire it up.
And someone was specifically asking about the East typing.
Oh yeah, that's one of the games that will be included for sure.
Mona Mona.
Yep, typing of East, Mona Mona, Zwei shooting, and the pet monitor are all accounted for, as is the wonderful alarm clock. Which we have an achievement based around setting the alarm and having it go off.
Clocks on a computer. What'll they think of that?
Yes.
It's Pipiro looking like she's straight out of Slayers.
Yeah, the original art style.
Let me know if you're all ready. If you're all ready, then I can switch to the game view.
Oh yeah,
we're ready.
Right, okay. Alrighty then.
The sprite art in this game is so cute. I've described it as a frosted sugar cookie before.
Yeah, they really do.
And it really is. Can they all see it now?
Yep, they can see it now.
Alright, I'm just gonna go with these default names.
Yep.
Local.
And yeah, as you can see, there is still a little bit of Japanese graphic text here. That's obviously going to change for the final release.
Here's the big question. Cat or dog?
Oh yeah, and like coloration.
Yep.
The bottom one is switches to dogs, right?
Correct. The bottom one is the swapper.
Yeah. We can go with these dogs.
I mean, I'm always a dog person myself. You're going to see a lot of dog screenshots in like on the website and stuff, because that's all like my saved data that's being used. And I'm a dog person all the way. Yeah.
Me too, but I picked this cat for my playthrough because I wanted to name him Garfield, and then like found that the text field was too short.
Ah, yes. Yeah, text character limits for names are through necessity. They're 6 characters, so probably not the full like 8.
The original Final Fantasy had 4, and we liked it.
I remember Fire and Affer.
Yeah, we're getting some dog fans in the chat. So
we looking for some dogs?
Yeah.
All right.
What kind of dog?
Here's the flop-eared basset hound type if you enjoy the films of Mamoru Oshii, and here's ones that have perky up ears.
Yeah, unlike Zwei the Ilvered Insurrection, I'm going to go with our titles here.
Yeah.
Unlike Zwei the Ilvered Insurrection, where you have a bunch of pets and you can kind of swap between them, you pick a pet at the beginning of the game. You will actually like find that pet pretty quickly at the start of the game, and that will be your pet for the entire game.
I'm gonna go with this dog.
But
this dog's suitable.
Yeah, but there is the pet monitor, which means your pet gets to go on adventures of his own, and you can kind of monitor your pet from a distance and help it make decisions as to whether or not to go left or right, whether or not to fight a wild cat or turn away.
Yeah, the apps in this game are amazing, and that's one of the good ones.
I'm naming our dog Snoop. There's nothing you can do to stop me.
It's an executive decision, friends.
Perfect. And yeah, this is still the original opening from the Japanese version, so it has no text updates yet. Not even sure if we can necessarily change that.
Falcon Presents 2001.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
is it like one of those like so old we need like old games?
Yeah, we literally need like a 2005 version of like some old editing program in order to like work with this. It's been a real challenge. My hat's off very much to Matt. Matt has been an incredible boon to getting this actually working
really
on a lot of
has.
computers. It's pretty impressive what he's been able to do. I love this opening theme.
There are birds flying in the sky, so you know it's a Falcon.
That's right. When there's more animation on the birds than the characters, that's
Yes.
how you know it's a Falcon game.
Did you have much trouble getting FMVs to work?
Not the FMVs so much. I mean, they played from the start, but they were originally like 4:3 resolution and then letterbox. So Matt had to expand them to fill the screen at least. But I think that's really all that's been done to them at this point, and they look pretty decent, I think. Hopefully, we'll be able to change things around, like put our English logo in, which is just the Japanese logo with the Arges Adventure added to the bottom. There were many in the office who wanted to change the logo, but you gotta keep that cutesy logo. It's too adorable.
I think it's very Zwei.
Yes.
Very Zwei logo.
It looks like a Nickelodeon logo from the 1993 or something like that. That's what I thought. But
Exactly.
Tom was like, "Yeah, that's an asset."
Yeah.
Someone was asking about the music, so they're talking about the PSP arrangements versus the PC arrangements.
Okay.
They're both good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, I actually prefer the original versions, like Clock Caverns. I actually think the original version is way better than the PSP arrangement. But then, like, you get something like Puck Village, the main hub town. That one, I actually like both versions, and I have a real tough time deciding which I like better. And then there's something like the Final Dungeon theme, where the PSP arrangement is just way better in general, I think. Same with like the Overworld. It has like a whole extra section that's not in the original version. But here we go.
You know this is an old RPG because it begins with the main character oversleeping.
Yep.
Oh yeah. No, this dialogue was ridiculously fun to write though, and I guess some apologies to like Japanese purists because I didn't go like word for word from the Japanese to English. But I tried to kind of get in the headspace of these characters, which was very easy because Paco, like, always has a bad pun in the back of his mind and is always hitting on older women, and I'm like, yo, that's me. But, yeah, no, it was really easy to get in their headspace and kind of write dialogue that seemed like it would fit.
Yeah, I think this is a game where if you tried to go, like, ultra straightforward translation, it'd just be like a real head scratcher because so much of it depends on these characters' personalities coming through. And like, Paco is an inveterate punster, and Pipiro has like zero filter.
I actually thought at first, when I first started translating, that Paco would be more fun to write than Pipiro just because, you know, puns. And he was a blast to write. But Pipiro was my favorite to write. She is so fun. Just because she does not give a crap about anything. She'll just say the first thing that comes to her mind at all times, and oh, it's so fun to write that level of snark. It's great. But yeah, as you can see, it is running in widescreen. It is not like HD or anything like that. It will upscale to HD, but
it
the
will
assets
upscale
are...
to basically, I think we've upscaled it to like a 4K monitor, so like...
Yeah.
I didn't actually realize that. That's cool.
Like
Nate's
our
been running it.
screenshots are gonna be in 4K, like...
Sweet.
I mean, it'll have the limitations that hand-drawn sprite art will have when you upscale it.
But if you have a huge monitor, you don't have to like make any compromises. Or
yeah, I don't need to pull out the
It'll still
magnifying
run
glass
it.
for that.
Yeah. And yeah, the big thing that Matt wanted to do programming-wise was to have the settings be pretty well integrated into the game, so there is actually no launcher at all. It just goes straight into the game when you boot it up, and it will pretty much just go with default options, and then you can adjust the options when you get in there. The game is old enough and has few enough options, actually, that makes it pretty easy to work with. And
So the Steam page is already up for this.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'll post the link.
Sweet. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun also with Steam assets. We've got some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
We hired a really great artist to do Steam achievement icons as well. And we're actually adding a few...
It's the same artist that did the Zwei 2 icons, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. And, yeah, I guess she's also doing bromide art for us.
That's right.
Which should be pretty interesting. The original game has 16 collectible bromides, a la the old Lunar games. And the collectible bromides right now do nothing. Like, you can't use them, you can't view them. They're just sort of collectibles. Like, basically they were trophies before trophies existed. And we figured, what's the point of having bromides if you can't look at them? So we're actually creating original bromide art. That may not be in at launch, though, but it will be patched in very quickly if not. So hang on to your bromides if you get them.
It's coming winter 2018, so...
Yeah.
Now, the neat thing is, you can switch characters at any time, which you used to have to press the ESC key or click on their portrait to do, but now you can, like, do it with a button.
Yup. There's
Like,
also
like we're living in the year 2017.
there's also a button to open the menu. Imagine that. You can just open
Shocker.
and close the menu at will.
I don't have to move my mouse over to menu in the middle of a dungeon. Jeepers.
And there's a button. This one was kind of really tough for Matt to put in, but it's like it seemed like a really good quality of life improvement. There's a button just to use the leftmost item on your hotbar, and then shift all the other consumable items left afterward, so that you can basically like queue up the exact order of the food that you want to eat.
Yeah, it's the beginning of 2018. Yeah, so, yeah, winter 2018.
Yeah, here's
Don't
your-
worry about it, it won't be too long.
Switch the background music
So,
to the original.
people are asking about
Orange.
FPS, Tom. Can you talk about those FPS settings?
It's locked on 30. The original had the option of 15, so you
Yeah.
could have done 15 or 30, but yeah, 30 is the best you're gonna get out of this game, unfortunately.
It's beautiful pixel art, and
Yeah.
honestly, if you had 60 FPS of beautiful pixel art, like, come on.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same.
This is it. The game definitely was barely designed. Like, even just getting the game to run in a widescreen resolution at all was apparently a huge struggle for Matt, and it makes sense because this game was very much programmed in 2001.
Now we
Programming
got
is held
people
together with
being
like band-aids and
FPS
gauze.
or riot. Give me the 50 FPS option.
You'll note too, the HUD is remaining where it was, so like the penne display is not all the way to the right, but that's because the pet monitor will actually be appearing in the new area, as will the clock if you have that activated.
Yeah.
So that right part of the screen will be used for additional HUD elements
Yeah,
that
it'll
weren't
be
present.
right above where the webcam is now, you guys. So that's
Oh.
where the pet monitor goes.
Cool.
And there's a lot of observable objects in the background, and if you have Pockle or Pipiro examine them, they'll say something. Pockle is like a pun for like 90% of objects.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of my favorites. The curtain is drawn, but only because this is a 2D game. Otherwise, it'd be rendered.
Yeah. I had some fun with some of the dialogue.
You just had
Yeah,
like
so-
no
This
oversight
game has puns
whatsoever.
in it, guys.
Yeah, this game has a lot of puns in it.
Boy,
and
does it.
My favorite were the long form puns that Pockle just tells people and then they all groan, like in game. Like, those didn't translate well into English, but I had to like find a way to make them translate into English, so I like found a way and it was fun.
So yeah, this will be
No one doubted you would
on
find a way.
PC, on Steam, GOG, and Humble.
Yeah, I guess that is worth noting. It will be the PC version only.
There are puns everywhere, guys. If you don't like puns, you probably shouldn't play this game.
or
I'm
at
sorry.
least keep Pipito in the lead and don't really like
That's
talk
true.
to
If
too
you
many
weren't
people.
Pockle, then you wouldn't be
Yeah.
exposed as much.
Yeah, Pipito just comments on things. She calls a lot of things her oldest foe. She's like,
So do
eggs,
I.
my oldest foe.
Usually it's math.
Yeah.
And then she'll also like comment on you, the player. Sometimes she'll sort of break the fourth wall. Be like, why the hell are you looking at this? Are you just bored? So.
Yeah, the art style is super cute. I remember when we started testing it in-house, I was just like so charmed.
Don't ever talk to me or my son again. I crack it up.
I kind of maybe went a little overboard with some of Pockle's stuff, but I'm sorry, not sorry.
You know that it was just like writing for yourself.
Everybody's reacting very adversely to that sun comment. Alt F4, it's time to stop. Memes.
Pockle is just like playing as Tom in a game.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
Like,
there's a lot
take
of
that or leave it.
There's a lot of me in Pockle for sure. He comments in the shrine as well. He'll comment on every single idol that's there. So like if you look at the light idol, he'll be like, "Oh, it's the light idol. Looks nice." And if you look at like the darkness idol, he'll be like, brah, this is a dark idol." So.
It's like so much. It's so reaching. I don't even know.
Yeah, Pipero's cute and savage.
She is.
Yeah, very much so.
Her title in this Y2 arena was the Pretty Pink Punisher, and then truly.
Is there voice acting in this game?
Only battle voices.
Yeah. The battle voices are super freaking cute. Holy
Yes.
crap.
I do love...
I had a Windows feature update pop up on this computer.
Oh, whoops.
But I can't do anything because I'm in the game. Oh well.
That's not good.
Do you want to do something? What's
We can press it to snooze.
Yeah, do the snooze thing.
But I can't move my...
Oh. I guess you can Alt-Tab out when you do
Here, let me hide Zwei so you can all
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's
Yeah.
it going? Windows,
Windows.
Let me readjust this camera positioning while we're waiting.
We back.
Alright. Wow.
But yeah, it's been so hard not to, like, tell people about this for the last several months.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
In fact, in all of our meeting notes, there was just one line for Zwei every time. Not to be announced anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, going back to, like, pre-E3, Tom and I were just pretty much ready to go, like, yeah, not only do we have Zwei 2 here, but we're working on Zwei 1 too. And then Ken was like, no, you are not doing that. 100%. I will ground you for life.
We just wanted to build up the hype, you know?
Yeah.
And I honestly think it does pay off, because now we can show it all to you and it's all nice and shiny.
That's right.
Instead of just saying, like, oh, by the way, we have this.
Instead of driving the chassis of a beat-up Pinto through town, we can actually show you a nice luxury car.
Yeah, I guess if we were to try to show you this game, like, back in E3 times, I don't even think it would run stably at that point.
Nope.
Yeah, it was in a very in-between state at that point in time.
Yeah, Tom has a number of blogs coming on this, during which he will teach you all the travails we have had attempting to get this game to simply run on a modern PC, with features that are expected by gamers at a base level.
But it is so worth it, though. Like, I had forgotten how much I actually liked Zwei. Like, it is a genuinely very good game, and even though the story is very basic, it's, like, very charming. The characters' dialogue is great. You get to know every single one of the NPCs, and you really kind of develop a rapport with them. And just the gameplay, too, it's very similar to Zwei 2, gameplay-wise, just in 2D. So no jumping this time, but you can air juggle enemies. So
It's so cute, too. Oh my gosh.
it's also actually a lot harder than Zwei the old.
It really is.
version.
Like, one level in this game makes a huge difference.
Yes. Be prepared to die.
Yeah.
You will die a lot.
I die
That's true.
frequently.
Isn't there, like, a dungeon whose level, like, is past max cap?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they mean it. Like,
Yeah.
those dungeons are like, very, very difficult.
There was a Russian hero. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's like the Dark Souls of Zwei.
Yeah,
Oh, how many gameplay hours is it?
I would
Depends
say.
on how much you die.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you
depends how
can-
good you are, Scrub.
I think you can expect at the bare minimum, like if you're kind of a speedy gamer, you can expect 20 to 30. I would say if you want to do everything and like get all the extras and all that, you're talking easily 40 to 50. It's pretty much on par with Zwei the Overt Insurrection as far as length goes, I think.
I lost all sense of time playing this game.
Yeah, it is. This game is also a lot more non-linear than Zwei the Overt Insurrection. It's got kind of that Zelda thing where you don't really have a clear goal other than you're collecting the idols. Is basically all you are doing for a good chunk of the game. And so every new ability you get, it's all about like, okay, where can I use this and what can I access now that I couldn't before? And it doesn't really tell you, go here, go here. It lets you just kind of figure all that out on your own, which is a very old school game design, and I like it a lot myself, but I don't know how much, if you're coming from Zwei the Overt Insurrection, it might seem almost too open, but hopefully you guys will...
Like, dungeons in here are sort of like, you go into like a sort of a dungeon hub area, and there are various gates you can go through that have like level plates on it that say like, here's the recommended level for going in here. Some of them are blocked off by things like keys, or where you need like something like a hook shot or something to get across, and others are just not blocked off by anything, and you can go in there and die if you want to try your luck.
Yeah, and you'll often see like a sign outside of dungeons that gives you some indication of what it is, like what the goal, what you're going to get at the end of the dungeon, or what you need in order to access that dungeon level. But there's no key telling you what the signs actually mean, so you have to kind of figure that out on your own. So it's definitely got a very heavy on the exploration and kind of like charting your own progress sort of thing. Again, I really like that, but I play a lot of old school games, so that's my forte. Airplanes do play a pretty big role in this as well, though I did just learn recently, as I was going through, that you can actually skip the entire airplane storyline.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't actually have to happen. It's just if you happen to like be in the right place at the right time, this entire major plot thread will begin. But you can avoid ever going to that place and never trigger that plot
I wonder
thread.
if it'll wait for you if you ever go in there and walk. Because once you go in there at the appointed time, it automatically queues.
Correct.
But like, is there a place where you can miss it?
I don't think so. I think it will still queue up no matter what.
You just
but
don't go there.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. There's alternates for if you don't do something, and then go back like late in the game and do it.
Yeah, that's
there's like whole alternate scenes.
That's what's hard to account for when you're working on the files.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen some of them in game yet, but I've at least been able to figure out what's going on in them and write the dialogue based on that. So that's gonna have to be something we go over in QA. I guess one of my favorite early Pockle lines is coming up. His reaction
So
to...
get ready, everyone, in chat.
There it is. Crap on a cracker, man down, man down!
Well, that certainly escalated quickly.
Oh, and yeah, I was mentioning the voices are... There are only battle voices, a grand total of 8 lines of dialogue in this entire game, voice-wise. And I love the English voices for Pockle and Pipito.
They are the same as Y2.
Yes, same voice actors. Pockle, I love that every time he gets hurt, he just goes, Zwei!
Yeah, he sounds like such a nerd. It's great.
And every time Pipito gets hurt, she sounds really indignant. She's like, ow!
It's like, how dare you? talk to his body.
I did. He ain't got much to say, though.
Nope. He's just out cold. He's fine.
If you played Zwei 2, you might recognize these statues of the goddesses now in cute chibi form.
Yep.
Yeah,
As
super
befits their art
deformed.
style.
And you'll note the symbol is the same as we used in the Zwei Overt Insurrection logo. That is the sun, the moon inside the sun,
Yeah,
to represent.
This
the
temple is
goddesses.
actually what I screenshotted to send to
Yeah, it's true.
our design house to make the sun for the Zwei 2 logo. I sent it from the game and we didn't officially have it.
Nope. See, the clues were there all along. Yeah, man, what else? There's just so much
Yeah,
to talk about with this. It's like kind of
an
overload
Oh yeah,
at
we
this
have
point.
a blog for you, right? From you.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow the first blog will come out. I've got another one sort of that I'm finishing up right now that goes into a lot of detail, and I've got a third one that I want to write as well that'll go into more detail on the actual localization as well. So,
Yeah, after all the months of people going like, you guys should bring the first Zwei over, will you do that at some point? And we're just going like, well, we have nothing to announce at this point.
yeah.
Nothing to announce at this time.
Yes.
Nothing to announce at this
And
time.
often that is true that we have nothing to announce, but sometimes
Yeah.
we just have to bite our tongues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to like plant subtle hints here and there, but I don't think anyone
Yeah.
picked up on them. I think I was too subtle.
I saw the
David
Reset
Tom.
Era thread,
It's not too subtle.
and then
it's
like
just
nobody
subtle.
guesses why I won, and I was just like, well, I guess this will be a big surprise.
Yeah, yeah. I guess were you guys surprised?
Yeah, how surprised were you guys? What were you actually expecting when we showed off, when we announced the mystery stream?
The leading thoughts were a Senran Kagura game or Cold Steel 3 until Brittany debunked that for everyone on Twitter to
Yeah.
save them the heartache.
Yeah, we were a little worried doing a mystery stream because we're like, we don't want people to be disappointed, but this is a really good game.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys aren't disappointed because, yeah, this game is totally worth your
No,
time.
people were super excited in
Okay.
the chat. So.
That's cool. That's cool.
Unless they were being fake, but no, there's still a bunch of people here.
Cool. I'm glad to hear it. You guys have good taste.
Yeah. And it's so cute. I mean, like,
Yeah.
look at it. Like, even if you haven't heard of Zwei before, like, as a series and you weren't waiting for this, like, it is adorable and hilarious. And the characters are great.
And can you play it on a toaster?
Yes, you
You
can
sure
play
can.
it on any old toaster.
Yeah, man, we actually had our programmer come up with minimum specs, and he was like, here are the minimum specs that I've
Dude.
tested it on. They were the most ridiculous
You can
minimum
look at the
specs.
Steam page since it's live.
Yeah, they were
Like,
amazing.
Your calculator probably can run this.
Zwei TI-83 edition.
It needs 128 megabytes of VRAM.
Wow.
Like, megabytes, guys.
This is interesting too, getting graphics assets from this game because we were looking at all the graphics assets that exist, and it's like, oh, this folder is taking a while to load. Oh, it has 26,000 files in it. It's like, oh, okay, cool. It's like each individual frame of animation for each individual sprite is like an individual bitmap in
Yeah,
that folder.
man. I really do miss that though, like the little 2D animation like that.
Yeah, it makes it easy to, well, not easy to find what you're looking for, but at least like it's all in one place, and anything you want you can
Exactly.
find.
It's gonna be there.
So, yeah, that's kind of nice. But yeah, it was also pretty interesting with Nick editing Zwei 2 while I was translating Zwei 1. We definitely had to like coordinate every now and again, make sure that terminology was the same between
Yeah.
the two games. We actually just caught something that I believe because it's used so often in Zwei 1, we're actually going to like make a minor text change in Zwei 2 in
Yeah.
a future patch with just an item that Pipito mentions that
Yeah.
we missed somehow before.
But it had to be shortened in Zwei 1 because the space restraints in this game were ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember the typical teleport item, which is the Venture Wing, actually got shortened from Adventurer's Wing or something like that
Yeah.
in Zwei 1. And, you don't have to use it in Zwei 2 because Alwyn will teleport you with her magic, but Claude and Fiona use Venture Wings, and they reference them, so I was like, well, I guess I have to change it to Venture Wing now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is literally all that would fit. The window size was very small, which made for some very creative descriptions in them.
Yeah.
Every now and again. Definitely had to abbreviate a few things, but I think that actually worked to their advantage.
Pipiro calls him Masky McMaskface.
Yeah, Pipiro's got nicknames for just about everyone. There's the
catching the zeitgeist of that Bodie McBoatface humor.
Ah, yes. Yeah, there's also a cat villain in this game, just as there was in Ilvard Insurrection. The cat villain this time around, we actually went with the name Colbert. The Japanese was Corubetto, so it was probably meant to be Corvette. But yeah, we went with Colbert because we could do a Colbert Report pun. But also
Decisions
it's pretty close.
Glimpse behind the curtains.
But yeah, Colbert, Pipiro always just calls him Kibbles. Or fake cat, with air quotes around cat for emphasis, as she points out.
Not a cat.
But yeah, there's some pretty good banter there. And Plum. Plum is excellent. Plum is sort of like how I imagine Pipito would be grown up if she became disillusioned with the world. That's Plum.
Are Paco and Pipiro siblings?
They are step-siblings. I believe it was Paco's dad married Pipito's mom, and then they both died.
Oh, no.
So they're
we
basically...
never figure out why they died or how, but they both died.
Yeah, they both died within the
time.
last 5 years before the game started, and Paco and Pipito now basically live by themselves in that house that you saw at the beginning of the game, and the nun, Sister Raspberry, is sort of like their surrogate mother.
Yeah, being the parents of adventurers is like the highest mortality rate job.
It really is.
It's more dangerous than being an actual adventurer.
I do like, though, that they really are basically treated as siblings in this game, and you sort of expect with a lot of Japanese stuff that, maybe they're going to have a romantic connection since they're not related by blood. But, yeah, they definitely stay just siblings, and there is even one scene at one point where Paco, where somebody suggests that they should be a couple, and Paco's like, no way, we're siblings, right? I mean, that's crazy, Pipito, don't you think? And, he's sort of a little hopeful, maybe? And then Pipito's just like, don't look at me, don't bark up that tree, So she just, shoots him down straight up, and it's like, yeah.
Maybe time will have an effect.
Yeah.
Oh, why go with, sorry, there's another question.
Yeah, what's up?
Why go with Numa rather than Psyche? I asked this before.
I actually was in favor of just going with Psyche.
I objected.
Yeah, a lot of people in the office did. We sort of put it to a vote, and the general consensus was that Psyche wasn't really a name, I guess.
He's mentioned once by name in Zwei 2, and it was translated as Pishuke. And I was like, that's not a name anyone's had ever.
Yeah. Well, on that name, we learned that it is in fact the Japanese pronunciation of the word psyche. But again, Nick and a few other people objected and said that's not a name. So we went with Numa. That was sort of the compromise name that I came up with.
I think it has a similar root meaning.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
I think naming something Psyche is yeah, I just picked this out of my psychology textbook.
Well, I mean, everybody's named after fruit otherwise. So.
That's true, the names this game are weird.
Yeah.
It's a pretty silly game.
There were actually a few other minor name changes. The woman who runs the inn and her two, step nieces, there's confusion as to what their relation is to her. Confusion mentioned in the game as well, in some of the dialogue, where they're like, how does this work, relationship-wise? But their names in the original were Kuraiti, Cheripa, and Apupa, which I guess were meant to be black tea, cherry pie, and apple pie. And again, we sort of put that to a vote, and we wound up going with chai, apple, and cherry.
It
Yeah.
sounds at least more like a name.
Yeah.
Alas, a name that someone would have in Saber Marionette. Unfortunately.
Yeah, if you're having it, also if there's some audio issues, let me know. Politely. Yeah.
I was also thinking for Kurai Tea, like, I'm pretty sure they were going for black tea as, like, the name, but I thought it could be Crighty, like, Crighty.
Sounds like a middle-aged English man.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, no, let's not go with Crighty.
Yeah, localization is definitely...
Can be a challenge.
Yeah.
With names like that, it's like, it's hard to really know.
Yeah. I do appreciate characters with weird names, though, like, all of the, I remember in Gudomyun, Falcom named, like, all the NPCs after, like, geometry terms. Like, you had a character just named Plane, Plane, and another named Hyperbolic. Grandpa Hyperbolic. Like, okay.
This is how Japanese games get.
Won't the church have complaints about the new names as they're not pious enough?
Ah, nice.
I hate to hear you get accused of impropriety.
Now you're catching on. You are,
Well, we
you
have
are
some-
primed
those-
for Zwei
Some
right now.
Those are
Puckle fans in the
puns.
audience.
Courtesy of Firehawk.
Nice.
The original name seemed rather crustworthy.
Perfect.
Tom and Nick, who is your favorite character in Zwei?
I mean, Pipito for me. Pipito is so fun.
In Zwei 1.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, obviously it's Pipiro, but like beyond Pipiro, who is it? Let's see.
Yeah, I guess if you're discounting Paco and Pipito, I'm gonna have to go with Plum, which is Numa's maid, because she is basically like adult Pipito, like I said, but disillusioned with the world. She constantly calls her master the libertine fat ass in my translation. That's just her nickname for him.
I like Miles, the pilot who crashes. He gets referenced in one line in Zwei 2 when Pipiro says that Ragnar pulls a Miles,
Ah, yes.
by which means you crashed your plane and almost died.
Yeah, there's some pretty funny dialogue with the plane crash as well, where like it seems like every male character in this game has the hots for the nurse Peachum,
Oh yes.
and Miles is one of
She
them.
is.
And yeah, I guess she tends to Miles after a plane crash, and like Pockle is just seen thinking after that, like, man, now I want to be in a plane crash.
Oh, and by the way, if you guys are tuning in now, I recommend that once the video is released on YouTube, to look at the beginning, watch the beginning of the stream. It was pretty awesome, and Ryan worked really hard to get the pink frog out here, the new game frog out here, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, he was actually like taking some time out here and there to like practice that song.
It
Yeah.
was like frog
on the
rehearsal.
caramel. So that was pretty excellent, yeah. Ah, yes, the books. The books were also very difficult to get right in the English because the formatting was just an absolute nightmare to work with for the English language. We're actually still working through a few instances where there's just no adequate way to express the list of elementals that are affected by certain spells or items or whatnot in English, and so we're kind of coming up with some shorthand for it. Because in the Japanese, they just used a single kanji for each one, so they could fit like this huge list on a single line.
The nice thing about the books is that they're really charming and unique. They have crayon drawings in them by Puckle and
That's
Pipiro.
actually, yeah, if you go to their house, you can actually check out the first few of those. It's the book on their table in their house.
That's right.
Yeah, and the crayon drawings are carrying through to the website as well, so that's something to look forward to. Not that book, the one in the living room table. There's only going to be a few entries at this point, but yeah, there you go.
Someone wants to know, what is that weapon that Papa
It is called a Qatar, although there is a scene, actually I think early on enough that you might be able to see it now. Have you been to the weapon shop yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I think it might actually be at the very beginning. So, the weapon shop owner's sister, Lainey, is really, really obsessed with weapons. She gets a magazine called Monthly Weapon. And she goes on this very long rant about how the Qatar is not actually a Qatar.
Yeah, I saw that
Mistake.
rant, and I was like, you made this 6 lines when everything else in this game is 3 lines per text box.
Yeah. No, that.
Cheater.
Well, no, that's actually how the Japanese was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does it have special conditions?
Yeah, in fact, that was crashing the game at first. So, yeah, Matt had to, put in special conditions for the English just to support the 6-line text boxes.
Wow.
For that one dialogue.
Wow.
Yeah, this game has trading cards with it, so that's where the art is going to go. And there's also going to be a website with a lot of art too for Zwei.
Yeah, the website's looking really good so far. I don't know exactly when it's going to be up. We actually should have a portal page for the series coming up soon. I think that's going to go live probably tomorrow or something.
Yeah. We can...
There's a fun localization thing there with
Oh, yeah.
Klaproth.
I wanted to go here because, yeah,
Yeah.
tell the story.
Yeah, it's if you look at the katakana there, it's Krapuroto. So yeah, the original Japanese had English under it that just said crap road. So we always call this place Crap Road. But yeah, it is actually, I was looking into it when translating, and it is, I guess, that is an actual thing, Klaproth. I forget what it is. I had the whole history for
Is it like Gnostic or something?
something, yeah. But that is definitely what it was referencing, was Klaproth.
Okay.
So,
This is just a really pretty one.
Yeah.
yeah. It's also one of the hardest dungeon floors is, in here.
Yeah.
Each of the non-dungeon areas has a hidden dungeon in it somewhere. There's hidden stuff everywhere in this damn game. There's so much hidden stuff in this game, it's ridiculous. Hidden items, hidden, dungeon floors, whole hidden dungeons. There's just so much. Bromides everywhere.
Yeah.
Collectible armor sets everywhere. It's if you are a collector nut, you are gonna go absolutely bonkers.
There's tons of stuff in this game that you don't technically have to do, and you might not even discover it.
Yeah. It's definitely a great game for exploration heavy people. I really do think this will have a very heavy appeal for Zelda fans in particular, because it has that very classic Zelda style of just wander this world and try to find all the hidden stuff.
I am going to go into a dungeon since people want to see these.
Are there a lot of missables? So even though everything's hidden, can you still find it later, or is there?
I think for the most part you can find everything later. In fact, they did make some dialogue adjustments to account for that as well.
Played Zwei 2, the famous tables with umbrellas at them are back.
Yes, that is the save point once again. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, these are all my save games from testing.
Okay. I don't know, I shouldn't save, probably, but
You probably should in case you die. Because...
Which of these games can I save over?
let's see. You can actually save over the number 9 all the way on the bottom. That should be fine.
Escape?
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't forget to go to the hit Paul with a bill too.
That's
Gotta
right.
get the cute little pet.
That's right. I'll teach everyone how you get your pet.
Yeah, you can
Even
get
though
the pet
even though you name him at the start, you have to actually do this unique event to get him.
Yeah, the pet is distinctly non-gendered. I always hate calling a pet it, but in general, because the pet is specifically non-gendered, I did.
So how many save slots does it have?
10.
10,
Only,
okay.
yeah.
hard mode, guys.
Yeah.
Can't just save scum your way to victory.
Or you can, but you just have to go through your files and stuff
Yeah.
on your computer.
Yeah, that's why the Overt Insurrection definitely had a lot of save slots.
Yeah.
That was like almost too many, but I did appreciate that, I will admit. I kind of miss that here.
When you when you switch your playable character, they switch backpacks.
Yeah, I love that little detail. There's a lot of little details like that in the game too. I particularly love like when you're in Pavel Gardens, which is the water dungeon. You leave little wet footprints whenever you're walking over grass. And same thing, there's a snowy area later in the game, and you leave footprints in the snow, and it even makes that snow crunch sound.
Yeah, I love that. I was just running around there forever.
Yeah,
like
it's
I didn't
super
have
fun.
like I just for the snow. By the way, someone from the chat, is a dog down there? I hope it's well.
Ah, yes. Yes, indeed. Now, ordinarily you would have your dog with you for the entire game, but again, we integrated the pet monitor app into the game proper as part of the HUD. And since you're not going to be monitoring your pet going on adventures while your pet is with you, we have it set so that if you leave your pet behind at the doghouse here in your house, then after you leave Puck Village, the pet monitor will pop up. And you'll be able to watch it go on its adventures. And in doing so, it will get items and bring them back to you, and it will also level up so that when you do take it with you later on, it'll be higher level and will do more damage if it's assisting you in battle.
Yes, we did name this dog Snoop at the beginning of the game. You get to choose whether, for the people who came late, you get to choose whether you have a dog or a cat, and that's coloration as well as the name.
Yep.
And
Should we leave him behind in the pet monitor?
yes, we need to see the pet monitor.
Yeah, the pet monitor is adorable.
It's so cute.
Yep, and it won't pop up until you leave Puck Village. That was done because it would be a little weird to suddenly have your pet going on an adventure while you're like still like right next door to it. But yeah, there it is popping up in the corner there.
Oh, it's so cute.
It is. You can minimize it as well, and every now and again the pet will face the screen, and two choices will pop up. Like a little thought bubble will come up with two choices. If you just let it be, it'll make a decision on its own, but you can actually influence its decision by hitting L2 or R2 on the controller. That will choose either the first option or the second option, and that way you can kind of like guide your pet as you're going.
Yeah. Here's a level 03 plate. Well, I'm not level 3.
Yeah, you can minimize the pet monitor.
But I'm not going to.
Yeah,
Pet
no.
monitor is too cute.
Here's
It
level
really
10.
is.
I would die. This is also blocked off by an elemental pillar.
Oh yeah, and like, you can kind of squeeze by if you're like a little low level on Zwei 2 or Zwei the Overt Insurrection. But in this game, if you're like a little under leveled, you're gonna get wrecked.
You can. I swear I've heard somewhere that you can theoretically beat this game at level 1, though I don't see how that's humanly possible. But I have heard that it's possible. You definitely have to be like the most badass gamer in the world in order to do that, though.
Like me.
Yes.
No, it's just...
Oh yeah, that's I guess one of the other things. The original game, you have equipment which mostly consists of magic jewels that give you the ability to cast different spells. You often have to switch magic jewels on the fly a lot because you need a bunch of different spells in order to get past pillars, or certain enemies will be invulnerable to certain spells. And in the original game, you either had to have all of them on your hotbar and then hit the appropriate function key to switch between them as needed, or you'd have to open your menu and switch between them as needed constantly. And we actually, Matt was awesome enough to actually program in the ability to use R1 and L1 to actually switch the equipped weapon on your hotbar on the fly and just toggle through all of your available weapons.
There's lots of nice quality of life
Yeah.
improvements here.
And also bombs. There are bombs in the game that are used to destroy rocks like that one. And Yeah, in order to use a bomb in the original game, you had to actually discard it. You couldn't just
So
use it.
you literally have drag it off your hotbar with the mouse. It was so bad.
Yeah, and so we're actually including a bomb use button, where if you have a bomb in your hotbar, just hit select, and it will drop at the closest available location.
Here's our favorites, the kobolds from...
Someone accepted the level 1 challenge.
If you can do it, like...
I'm gonna remember your name. It's called Wuhan.
Please, actually send this video for those of you doing it.
Record the
Tom
game.
believes it's possible, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I believed it was possible so much that originally I'd written an achievement for it.
Oh my god.
And everybody was like, no, and I was defending it ardently. I was like, no, we gotta have it in there. We gotta reward people for this. And then I looked online because it's I swear I've heard this is doable. Not a single video anywhere on the internet of anyone ever doing this, nor any record on a message forum of anyone ever doing this. So I don't know if I'm just crazy. I mean, I know I'm crazy, but I don't know if I was just dreaming that Falcom said you could beat this game at level 1 or what, but that is not an achievement anymore. So you can rest easy there, I guess.
How does the controller work?
Well, we've played it on Xbox 360 controller. I'm using an Xbox One controller now. I think Nate's using a PS4 controller. I'm using my old-ass Logitech controller.
Yeah, so it's pretty, yeah. And you don't have to use a keyboard or anything, right?
You don't have to. I mean, you still can. For
Yeah. The game doesn't, make you choose, joystick, keyboard, or mouse. You can use any combination of any of the 3. Oh, is this the level 0 dungeon? Yeah, there's, almost nothing here.
Yeah, but I need to get some food.
Ah, okay. Yeah, this is a dungeon floor. Again, this is the exploration element of the game. This level 0 dungeon is only 1 floor. Usually dungeons are 3 floors. And there's currently just this empty clearing at the end of it and nothing else. But you will return here actually twice over the course of the game for various things that come up as part of the story.
They do move at a pretty quick pace.
Yeah, puzzling.
Oh yeah, I was mentioning earlier too, there's all kinds of really cool environmental effects. There are certain stages in the forest where it's actually raining.
Oh yeah.
And it's just really beautiful looking, actually. There's just a lot of really cool little detail in this game.
Someone was asking about item selection, but we were explaining earlier that there are some quality of life improvements. They were asking if it pauses while you're selecting the item.
I mean, if you open your menu, yes. But if you're just selecting an item off of the hotbar, no. But you no longer have to manually go and select an item off of the hotbar very often in this game at all. Because we have the item use button that will use the leftmost consumable item on your hotbar and then shift all the others left. We have a bomb use button, and we have a weapon swap button. So you can actually, sort of hot swap things and do things without ever having to, manually manipulate your hotbar.
But if you need to manually manipulate your hotbar, you can press, I guess it's the triangle button on a PlayStation controller, and that will send your cursor down here where you can use an item directly or hit any of the tabs the map option okay here.
And yeah, once again, that option screen is all very temporary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of still very temporary things. You'll note that all the title cards are still shifted over to the left and all that too. So again, that is all queued up for eventual resolving.
Alright, here I am in Pablo Gardens.
Yep, this is
level 31. How about now?
This is usually, I guess, where people are sort of semi-guided to make their first dungeon.
It mentions it by name.
Yeah, but you don't even have to do this first if you don't want to.
Yeah, it's so open.
like at any given time, there are a couple options of what you can do.
Yeah, and also returning to town is often good because the townsfolk will change their dialogue after every like event that occurs, basically, and sometimes they will have items to just give you, or like hints to give you.
It's like, hey, we're the dancing kobolds. Should we kill them though? Or should we just dance with them? Yo, this bee is some good stuff. I kind of want to kill them, they're just having a good time.
Yeah, you do kind of feel bad a little bit in this game. I believe there is actually an enemy that you save from other enemies at one point, though.
Yeah. From kobolds.
Yep. Papa's excellent attempts at sounding tough.
Oh, now they're gonna attack me anyway.
Oh yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Just because that turtle came, now we're not friends.
So why'd you put that balloon there if you didn't want people to pop it anyway? Jeez.
Hero will destroy.
Yes, right now this is just Pichuda's base magic. This is not any elemental whatsoever.
Equipping her with any of the gems will augment her magic attack into something totally different.
Yeah. The magic attacks are, they feel like variations on, like, spread shots in this game more than anything else. Like, the wind has just projectiles that fly out in a circle from you.
That's like contra spread shot.
Yeah, water is, like, just specifically bubbles that spray out in front of you in, like, a wide angle. My favorite is actually fire because it's pretty much a shotgun. It's just, you just are basically shooting enemies at that point.
Oh yeah, we got put
Yeah, the food experience system, same as in Zwei, the Over Insurrection.
And the food exchange is back.
Yep. That is one thing. The original game, again, a product of its time from 2001. No tutorials whatsoever. No instruction whatsoever.
Which we are changing.
Yeah, you are expected to just read the manual, basically, for the original version of the game. But ain't nobody got time for that. So now, yeah, we are going to be actually adding tutorials, but we know tutorials are not anybody's favorite thing, so
You
we're
can
going to
call
make
it
sure not
manual transmission.
Guess we sure could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know tutorials are not anybody's favorite thing, so that's going to be something that we use sparingly. We're still trying to decide exactly when and where and what content to feature in tutorials. Because we also don't want to be like, press the attack button to attack. Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Yeah.
These puzzles
You
look
can
like
say that
totally
again.
easy, but they're actually like
Bimbo.
ridiculously weird
Yeah.
So
puzzles.
watch out here. This guy will wreck you if you're.
I know. I've died to this dragon.
Bimbo
Pseudo dragon.
says the character design seems pretty unique. Yes. Yes, it does.
Oh yes.
As a matter of fact, you can see the art up in the top left corner there.
Go to the status screen. You'll see a full body shot.
Now, the interesting thing about Zwei's art is that here it kind of has a old school look about it. Like it has a bit of a shoujo manga element, I think, or like a 90s shonen, maybe like Hoshin Ingi or something. But when they did Zwei 2, they had that artist redraw the Zwei 1 characters in that style. And we are trying, although I don't know if we are going to be able to have that art be switchable for this art in the game so you can have whichever you want.
Yeah, the issue with the PSP version art, which is the PSP version in Japan used the cuter art, the more modern art. The issue with it is basically natively PSP resolution, so it's actually too low res even for this game. And blowing it up, it is noticeably pre-pixelated. So it's one of those things where it's like we're trying to see if we can track down like higher res versions, but if not, then we're probably just gonna have that like updated art featured on like the Steam page, the website and stuff, and not so much in game. It's not like you really see the art that much in game anyway. For like the characters, you mostly see the sprites of this.
Right.
So I don't think it's a huge deal, but yeah. Just, I guess, FYI, that is a feature that we have been looking into, and hopefully we'll be able to throw that in the game.
So now will they be able to turn off the tutorials, and are we going to see the original PDF, or like anywhere in PDF?
I don't know on the second one. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we can look into it.
Yeah. As for turning off the tutorials, I mean, I'm talking just a screen that pops up.
Yeah.
So you can press
It's not like anything involved, just like, you know, the least you should know about
Yeah, basically
attacking.
just so that you have some clue that these features are available to you. That's the most that I would possibly put in for tutorial, because I don't like tutorials either. So
These are like tutorials, not to like, do you know what a button is? This is more like, okay, like here are the commands that you're going to use throughout the game.
Almost like a control setup, a control diagram or something. Is sort of what I was thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, for those who missed it,
The
because
bees,
the game is kind of loud right now.
Oh, really?
So I'm turning it down, but basically, yeah, we're gonna look into putting the manual somewhere, and it'll just be like a graphic text tutorial that you can just go past. Nothing too involved.
Yeah, we can't tell volume levels too well on our end, guys.
right
Sorry
now,
about that.
the arranged soundtrack is a bit louder just from its basic mixing. So I'll bet if I turn it to the original soundtrack, which I will do right now,
Yeah, might as well show off a little bit of that as well.
it is less loud.
Yeah,
Some
for
food.
Pummel Gardens, I actually think I might prefer the original, but they're very close.
Oh no, the spike balls!
I always wind up running into them anyway.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
No. More things. Sometimes you have to just like hide in corridors and use the environment to block stuff.
Yeah. Also, it really does help when you are air juggling enemies.
Yeah.
You'll notice the stars around their head turn to skulls when they're actually dead.
Yeah.
And then you can keep air juggling them to keep up your combo until there are no skulls left, and then they like have to just fall and die.
As expertly demonstrated by Nick.
Indeed.
Octopus balls, totally baller.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see Pockle and Pipiro like give the item information for you for the items, and that box is just really small, and that's why it's difficult to work with.
One line, I think 16 characters.
Yeah, look at those, and they're so good, like for that small space.
I tried. that was the toughest part, I think,
Yeah.
as far as like localizing this one. That and figuring out context, because that's the other thing that was weird about this game. There were like 2.5 games worth of text in our files for this game. Like, it's weird. It's like this game went through several revisions, and all of the old storylines and dialogue are like still in the files. And
That was really neat, actually.
yeah, it was kind of neat to see, but it was very confusing because I like couldn't tell, is this actually used in the game, or is this like from the old version? It's like, oh, this is from the old version. I can just ignore this now. I only know that because now it's referencing like, you know, a character who doesn't even exist. So there was some weird stuff in there.
Ooh, a backpack. This is how you expand your inventory. You can see right now on the left it says bag usage 16 out of 40. But every time you get an item bag item, you can use it and it will expand your inventory total by 15. Another
15?
well, now I mean it's 50.
Okay.
It went from 40 to 50, and I have 15. And I have one less item than before. Another cool thing is you'll see this tab that has your items in it. We actually had it where now you can click and drag and even use the mouse scroll wheel to navigate this window.
And you can actually use L1 and R1 on the controller as well to do page up and page down.
Those were all not in the original game.
Yeah. Matt has really done a lot of
Yeah.
programming Olympics for this game.
It really is. It's a game jam in itself.
Yeah, I have repeatedly, like, kind of felt bad, actually. It's like, poor Matt, he's been put through so much. But he has done an amazing job, for sure.
Somebody's asking about stacking items. Is that a thing?
No.
No, it's
That is something that was
dead.
not in the original version, and putting that in this version would have kind of broken this version. So we had to just kind of go with what was there. You can stack items in your storage chest.
Yeah,
but
you
not
have,
in
like,
your
I think an
inventory.
infinite capacity safe in your house. You can put stuff in, and of course, always remember to exchange food.
Yeah. The food exchange is still in. If you interact with the cash register at the inn in town,
Yeah.
you'll be able to exchange 10 of any one item for, or 10 of any one food for one of, like, a type of food that gives you 150% as much experience as all 10 of the previous food would have. And it's usually pretty important to do that because, you need that inventory space a lot of times too.
Yeah.
It's
I've
oh,
gotten,
thank
like,
goodness.
key items from events, and it's like, your inventory's full. It has been sent to your safe at home.
Yeah.
It's like, oops.
Yeah, inventory management is definitely interesting. It's also interesting the way this game handles key items, not being able to lose key items. I was really worried at first, because you're able to just drop key items, and they'll, like, flash and disappear after a little bit. And I was like, oh, well, that's not good. I mean, these are items you absolutely need to win the game. That's pretty bad. But turns out that's actually how it always has been. There's a trader in town, a merchant from a foreign land. I believe, no, Regenev is the guy in the desert. I can't remember his name offhand, though, on right now. But, yeah, the merchant in town tells you early on that he will often go around and pick things up off the ground. And that was your hint that if you drop anything and you later learn that you absolutely need it, go to his shop and he'll be able to sell it back to you. So if you drop, like, one of the magic gems, he'll have it for sale in his shop, without fail.
Don't drop the magic gems.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Don't buy back what's yours.
Yeah, basically. But I thought that was a rather interesting and, again, kind of old-school approach to key items.
It is nice that way. We were like, do we have to, like, make sure you can't drop this? Because what if people drop the gems and they hose themselves out of being able to get through the last dungeon or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, in case you all missed it, there is like a teaser trailer and a lot of screenshots on the Steam page.
Yeah, I guess for anyone who didn't tune in right away, this is Zwei 1, and we're calling it Zwei the Arges Adventure in English, to go along with Zwei the Ilvered Insurrection. I was trying so hard to find an acronym that, like, it's spelled out like O-N-E or something. So you could do, like,
Yeah.
Zwei O-N-E instead of Zwei I-I. For...
Just like Zwei. Yeah, Zwei 2 was kind of like still Zwei 2
Yeah,
with the two eyes as Roman numerals.
but I couldn't come up with anything good for Zwei O-N-E. I was also trying to, like, do Zwei E-I-N-S, like Zwei Eins. I even tried, like, Zwei Wan, W-A-N. I came up with a few, but none of them worked
None of
at
them
all.
were good.
Yeah, basically. So instead we've just got Zwei Ah!
It's Zwei double A, because these dungeons will definitely hit you with battery.
Or send you to Alcoholics Anonymous.
Two different takes.
Yes. Yeah, I carried through my puns to some of the... There's various forms of alcohol in this game as well, and the main one that is, like, the main export of Argus, I called in English Bow and Arrows, like Beau and Eros. So, it's pretty proud of Bow and Arrows.
All right, I'm going to use a Venture Wing to go back to town.
Yes, the Venture Wing animation is a little
it's
bit
the
janky right
best.
now. It's
Oh
great.
gosh,
It's
That's
great,
right.
but it ends with like this
where?
jankifying thing.
And here Tom had, instead of just putting cancel, because that would be too easy, we have nowhere, foo.
Oh yeah, if you go into Caiaphas Woods too spooky, and then Pavel Gardens.
Oh
what
yeah,
have I got?
Tom
Keep
never
going.
localizes that as like no.
Yeah, I refuse to do just yes or no. It's boring.
All right, are you ready for this transition?
Yeah,
You're not spiritually ready.
This is how teleporting works.
Here is a sphere where you can see the edges. Welcome to PlayStation 1.
And that's every time you teleport, screen just folds in on itself and falls down to Earth.
Yep, it's like the dawn of 3D animation technology.
It is something to behold.
Yep.
But yeah, the part at the end is still being worked on, but it's wonderful.
Work in progress. Oh shit! Here's a I don't know if it's a great pun, but it's an Eastern style frying pan. Makes cooking easty. Waka waka waka.
Yeah, I think I went a little too far
Really,
with that one, but
Tom?
you know,
Really?
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. Actually, yeah, if you go to the desert too, that has another one of my
Oh,
favorites.
Firehawk. Well, it's clear these two are spirited adventurers.
Indeed, you definitely need to play this game.
Yes! Firehawk.
I think if you go all the way to the right to the edge of the water and then examine the water.
Yes.
This is my other one.
Water in the desert is a very special thing. Won't you sing its praises? Take it away, sis.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, Tom is a pun god
This-
at this point.
This game is just full of this.
Yeah,
If you
sure
like
is.
dungeons and this, then this is your game.
Especially if you play as Pockle.
Yeah,
if you play
it's
as Pipito,
definitely-
it's all very
If you
different.
play as Pipero, you can avoid the brunt of it.
In fact, I mean, everything that Pockle has a comment about, Pipiro does
Yeah.
too, so what will she say? The surface of the water is super sparkly.
She's
Look, it's like normal commentary that a normal person
Well,
would make.
some of her commentary is also not that normal. A lot of it is
Well,
very
yes.
very blunt and
yeah,
snarky.
she's cute and savage. Like
Yeah.
that's her thing.
In fact, I think one of her most savage lines is if you go back into town and examine the one table in the inn, actually, with her. I think the middle table there. Oh, no, not that one. One of them.
It's okay. These puns will get their just deserts. Because we were in the desert, guys.
Try the one on the bottom, maybe? Where's
Yeah, the animation speed for that.
Yeah, there you go.
Tables everywhere. You'd almost think this place actually gets customers.
She is savage.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun with her as well, and you don't see as much of that, but as you play, you will definitely get some really good Pipito lines. Like,
Pipiro turns it up to 11 in story scenes in particular.
Yeah.
So just wait for her to like. There is no villain who can command her respect. She will
Yeah.
diss them all.
yeah, like when she first meets Colbert, she's like, "This isn't a cat. Calling him a cat is an insult to cats everywhere." And that's when she does the whole like, "I think I'm just going to call him fake cat with the pause for air quotes."
He's looking at Pockle's looking at a bed. It's really soft. I wonder if it's stuffed with down. I'd be down with that. Wah, wah.
Someone in the chat is asking, where is the burn heel? If only we had a burn heel in this game.
You can actually buy it.
Ah, yes. That's also another thing you'll see is whenever there's alcohol, there's a lot of alcohol in Puck. Everybody here drinks.
It's a really rural town, and they get shipments in like about twice a year.
Yeah, that's
so-
true. But yeah, everybody in Puck drinks, and when you examine alcohol with Pockle, he always is like, I really want to try some beer. Like, he's totally like the 14-year-old who just wants that sip of beer. And Pipito's just like, alcohol's gross. Like, she just is all like, no, thank you, get it away from me.
Fakal and Fifiro live alone. They could probably buy beer anytime they want.
They probably could. I don't think
Or
anyone would
make
have
it.
any issues with selling them beer anyway.
Not in a town like this.
Yeah. I mean, somebody does mention, one of the waitresses does mention that, and is like, you shouldn't be in here, this is a bar. No, this is an inn. Oh yeah, everybody calls it the bar, though.
Fakal, Fifiro was like, you don't have to act like a tough guy for Chai's benefit. She knows the real you, man.
Yeah.
Cold as ice.
Sweat drop. Alright, I have to be wrapping the stream up soon, sadly.
Is there
You've all
any?
been
Are there any other
wonderful.
features you would like us to show with what we can show at this moment?
You can try to show my my wonderful achievement that I added for moving 3 different animals across the bridge, but it's tough to do.
It is.
You can push these the chicken, the chick, and the duck, and I decided, well, since you can push them and you can get them trapped across the bridge, why not make an achievement for pushing all 3 of them
Because
across
Tom
the
is
bridge?
cruel.
So, you'll get an achievement for pushing all 3 of them to their new home across the bridge. It's really hard to do, though, actually.
It really is.
But I've gotten pretty good at it. I've done it a few times now, just to make sure it can be done.
Intense
That's
booze
some pretty
steak.
intense booze stank.
It's pretty good.
Fifiro was like,
Thanks for stopping by, Lasherus. Night.
Yes, thank you all for
thanks
stopping
for coming
by. I hope you were pleased by the announcement and the reveal, and I hope that when this game comes out, you guys will really enjoy it, because I had a blast working on this.
so
Surprise.
cute and amazing.
here's Lainey talking about guitars.
Oh, is this her
No.
guitar dialogue? Aw, that's a shame. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
no, here it is. By the way, did you know the guitar? This is what crashed the game because
Yeah.
it's 6 lines. Game development.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know what's going to crash the game. We had some interesting bugs so far. We had one where we accidentally transformed a piece of equipment we bought into this like goofy looking smiley face. And that goofy looking smiley face was crashing the game until I was able to like move it and then manually equip it. And then I could just duplicate it and fill my inventory with goofy looking smiley faces. And the only way I could get rid of them was by offering them up to like this spirit of the spring.
Oh, yeah.
She was the only one who'd like permanently remove a goofy looking smiley face from my inventory. That was one of the weirder bugs I've encountered, to be
There
sure.
needs to be a blog.
Yeah. No, that's got to be mentioned in the vlog.
Falco's like,
I've got screenshots. It's
Falco,
good.
I
It's
thought
good
it was called a guitar because it's such a good cutter. Get it? Cut-tar. And Lainey's like, get out of my
Sweat.
house.
And
That's so
all,
good.
folks.
I like a little wait before she says it.
stuff.
I'm gonna try to show them like the weird crash.
I don't think it works anymore.
Oh, did the
Yeah, no,
Matt fix
that's
it?
Matt fixed that.
It was
Yeah,
working earlier this week.
yeah.
That
no.
is too strong.
Yeah,
It
Matt
is.
fixed it. Oh yeah, that's the other thing is shopping. Shopping is way
Right.
easier than it used to be.
Here's an interesting conundrum. In this game, to use a piece of equipment, it has to be on your bar.
Yep.
Like, so as you start getting things for more different armor slots, you will end up having to say, do I want an extra piece of food ready to go to heal myself, or do I want extra protection?
That's
Yeah.
actually why stacking items would kind of break the game.
Yeah.
Now the
mechanically, it's
the
just-
power stone here is it's the first item you can get that's actually like an offensive accessory, which is what I call stuff like the magic crystals you'll get, and you can equip that, and it will make your stats go up.
Yep.
And it'll make
Yeah, the face is
dungeoning
not appearing.
much easier.
Just by
Yes.
pressing L and R, you can cycle through any of the items that fit under this classification. But since I only have one, it'll only equip and unequip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is something that was definitely not in the original game.
No.
And it's very nice to not have to fill your hotbar with weapons that you think you might
Yeah.
be using over the course of the
In like
dungeon.
the last or second to last dungeon, I remember there are elemental pillars of every type, so you have to keep stopping and equipping the gem or a couple gems you think you're going to use the most, and then you have to equip them with the mouse every time you want to
Yeah.
change between them. Boy, oh boy, that was a fun
Yeah.
time.
And yeah, I was mentioning too, shopping in the original game, even the shop screen was kind of weird. You actually had to, like, physically drag the item that you wanted from the shop menu into your inventory in order to buy it. You couldn't just click on it to buy it. And if you wanted to sell something, you had to first toggle the thing in the middle from buy to sell, and then physically move the thing from your inventory into the shop window. So it was just very weird, and we've now said it's that you can just click it to buy it or click it to sell it.
Yeah.
It's a lot better. A lot
Yeah.
more sensible.
Like, half the fight was getting this game to run on a modern PC, and half the fight was getting it up to modern
Yeah,
standards.
Yeah.
but I think we're pretty much there at this
like,
point.
it's
and
super impressive
yeah.
how far it's come.
And I'm really glad, too, because this game deserves to be played by more people, and it definitely was struggling to be playable by people in the modern age
Yeah.
before. It showed its age quite a bit, and I think we've really brought it up to modern standards a lot better, and
Yeah.
that's... Matt is very much to thank for that. He was awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you look on screen, you'll see I'm talking to Kite, who's sort of a fighting mentor to Pockle, and he used to be a treasure hunter, and Ragna actually mentions having known him in Zwei 2, so you can see there's already some world continuity.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a neat thing about this game, is like just the little things they paid attention to.
There's also an odd bit of world continuity where there's an old man obsessed with mushrooms, and he wrote a book about mushrooms called Dirge of the Shrooms, which is actually being read by someone in Zwei.
Yeah, Chester the pianist is reading that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
You
lot
find
of
out the guy in Arges wrote it.
Easter eggs like that. So,
Deep lore, man. Deep lore.
gonna wrap up the stream now. So we are streaming Zwei the Arges Adventure, and that was our announcement. Announced by the new Game Frog, or Pink Frog,
Oh, yes.
at the beginning of the stream. So once that video is up, you guys should definitely watch the beginning if you tuned in late. And it's gonna come out winter 2018, and to clarify, that is the beginning of 2018.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Not the other side of winter.
Not the other
2018.
side, no. It's
Yeah,
gonna,
it's in much better shape than that.
yeah,
at
it's
least.
coming up soon.
We would not announce a game that we're going to release in 1 year.
Yeah, that's not the XE way. But thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any more questions, there's gonna be a blog coming out tomorrow, and
I'll-
more details are coming out via some press releases, stuff like that.
But you heard it here first.
Yes,
And I'll-
indeed.
I'll be posting on the Xseed forums too. Like if
Oh, yeah,
anybody has any
definitely.
questions, feel free to just ask them on there, and as long as I can answer them, I will.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you guys for stopping by.
Yep.
The stream was really fun.
Alright, thanks for
and
coming by, everyone.
We're
So
so glad
excited.
you know
Glad to
about
see-
this
glad to have you with
now.
I can talk about it.
The gag
Yeah.
order has been lifted.
We've been waiting to announce this forever. Thank you guys. See ya next time. Thanks for stopping by.